This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. So let's start our servers classes from today. So next 4 days, we are going to see few important servers that used in your real environments and as well as it is important for your certification concept. So let's start with the NFS server. If possible, there was one more server called FTP server, which has now seen a downfall as people are not using it much as a standalone concept. But we have used it, if you remember, in software management, DNF repositories and all. So if possible, I'll share a recorded session of FTP server for your knowledge that sometime maybe if it is required, as I'm sure it won't be an important concept or required concept anymore. But still, for knowledge purpose, you can go through the video recording of that. Anyway, let's talk about NFS server. See guys, from now onwards, we are going to work with the server and client architecture concept. So basically, server is a high computing machine which has very high CPU, memory, and the other resources on which our applications will be running and clients would be accessing it ideally. In the same way, we will be able to share our data from one central point of location to all the other machines that can be treated as a client. So if you have 100 machines, you can take one good computing machine as a server and rest of the all machines you can treat it as a clients. Now when it comes to clients guys, nowadays clients category has been broadened. Earlier we used to have a proper computer as a server and a proper computer as a client. But now guys, we have a perfect proper computer server as a server and client can be anything nowadays. For example, a client can be a laptop, client can be another server, client can be your mobile phones also, because now you see you access Google Drive, your AWS account, many things from your personal devices also. So client category has been broadened now. Anyway, but in this scenario, when we talk about NFS, it purely works on Linux and Unix systems, Unix to Unix, Linux to Linux. So in this category, our clients will be other Linux or Unix machines. Now, why do we use this NFS server? NFS stands for Network File System, and the concept is file sharing. From one centralized location, I wanted to share the files or directories with the clients. So what we do generally is we take one machine as our server, and on that server, we are going to take a partition. That partition you will format. After formatting, you will mount. After mounting this directory, see normally where we mount a partition on a directory. Now it can be a partition you are mounting, or it can be a logical volume what you are mounting. That is your choice. So we take a partition or um, a logical volume. We will format it, mount it in a directory. And in this directory, we will keep some data that you want to share. Now, what kind of data? That is your choice. You can keep software related data. You can keep normal files. You can keep audio files, video files. You can keep more directories inside it, whatever. Now, this directory I will share with all the clients or a particular set of clients in my network. So when you throw this directory into the network, it becomes accessible to all the clients in your environment. Now, as I told you guys, client can be again a standalone computer or laptop, but it should be running on Linux, right? Or Unix. So on the client side, we create one empty directory. Server side, we have a main directory that contains the data. Client side, we create an empty directory. Normally, what we do, guys, on the server side, there is a partition. You mount it there on the server itself. But in this scenario, on the server, you have one directory which you are mounting over the network on the client side. So what happens is whenever whatever you keep on server side, it would be accessible, it would be viewed immediately on all the clients. As soon as they connect to the server, they mount server side directory on client. Whatever you keep on server will be automatically visible on all the clients. So if you add a file on server, all 10 clients will see the same data. And on the client side, when you add anything on client side mount point, automatically the data will be uploaded to the server. Assume there is a scenario, you have one server and 10 clients, all 10 clients backup you have to keep on server. Normally, if you do, I need to collect the backup of the client and then I have to upload to the server. But in this scenario, if I take the backup on NFS share on the client side, whatever we keep on client side NFS share, automatically it gets uploaded to the server. So whatever we are keeping on the client side will get automatically uploaded to the server. So just to keep the data on NFS share on the client side, it gets uploaded to the server. So burden will be lowered. Now NFS is used in many applications for sharing the data behind the scene. Like in AIX, we have a concept called NIM, Network Installation Manager. In that also NFS is used. For some applications to share the data between two machines, we use NFS. In VMware, the virtualization ESXi, to share the spaces also, we use NFS concept. In backup technologies, NFS is used. And also to synchronize data between two location, two different storage systems also NFS is used. So basically NFS is a very important concept that is backbone or backend for many important concept. So here we are going to learn in a detailed way. Normally in the other aspects, it would be just using behind the scene, that's it. So let's see guys, what is the profile for NFS server? Now this profile is nothing but the important points related to your server that you should always remember. To deal with NFS, we have to install a package called NFS utils on server side and client side, both places, right? But NFS utils is a very, very basic set of package which comes bundled with your operating system. The moment you install Red Hat OS or Ubuntu OS or SUSE OS, whatever, any Linux or any Unix OS comes pre-installed. So mostly we don't have to install it. It is by default available. The daemons or services that must be running in order to use NFS software is NFS server.service. If the service is not running, that means the server, the application is not accessible. It won't work. See, NFS server.service is a collection of many small services like NFSD, MountD, StatD, LogD, or QuaD. Out of all, the most important daemon is NFSD, which is responsible for communication or exchanging the data between server and client. Others are also important like MountD, which will receive the request from the client, StatD, which will monitor the status of connectivity, LockD will lock the NFS activities if there is a network failure. Our quota D might be used to apply quotas, but that is outdated now. So anyway, so earlier there used to be a separate services, but now they have been clubbed into one name, NFS server.service. Port numbers, guys, these port numbers are really important to remember, because what happens guys, that whenever you want to allow a service to work, as I told you, in your real scenarios, people might use hardware firewalls. Or if you are keeping this application on cloud like AWS or Azure, there they will ask us to tell which port number to allow in order for connectivity. So if I don't know that NFS uses which port number, what port number I'll tell to them, isn't it? So we must know the port number variable. Try to remember the port numbers. So 2049 is the port number by default to work with NFS. The configuration file etc exports. See, whenever you want to share anything with number of clients, so what you are sharing, with whom you want to share, that information should be kept in etc exports file. So suppose I'm sharing a directory with 10 clients, so that information must be kept in etc exports. There are other important config file like varlib nfs etab, which is nothing but a copy of etc export. It holds the information what is getting exchanged. Varlib nfs rm tab stands for remote mount table. It stores the information that how many clients are right now accessing your system through NFS. Anyway, so let's go slow, steadily, and let's understand this wonderful concepts uh, topic by topic. Okay, there's a question coming in. Okay, what happens if client does not want to share data with server on NFS? Can that be prevented? So if client does not want, let's client don't upload any data. That's it. Or don't connect to NFS server at all, right? Yes, port numbers can be changed, but we uses the default port. Yes, it can be changed, right? So see, server side, if I don't want any client to connect, we can block it. But client side, it's client choice. See, it's like, we have an electricity supply. Now, whichever house does not wants to use it, they switch off. They won't use it. Let's start with logging into the server first of all. 40, I'm going to take as server. See, from this class onwards, almost for all the remaining classes, we will be using both the machines, one as a server and the other one as a client. In Ansible, we will be using more than 4 machines. But anyway, so now onwards, I'm going to power on both the machine as I did for today's class also. I have already powered on both the machines, 40 as a server and 50 as a client. As I told you that NFS utils is a basic package that comes pre-installed. So mostly we don't have to install it separately. It comes bundled, pre-installed with um, this thing, Linux. So as it is already installed, if it is not installed, what will you do? See, we have configured DNF or yum, right? So just say DNF install NFS hyphen utils. That's it. And it is going to install it. In our case, it is already installed, so nothing is going to happen. It may say that package is already installed. So nothing is going to be done. Step number 1 is done. Now, step number 2, you can create a partition or a logical volume, format it, mount it, and then use it for NFS concept. So in our case, you see there are many partitions we have created. Like you see SDS7, we created, now we are not using it. Earlier, I thought of creating with LVM, so I did it. Now what I'm going to do is I'll simply change the code to 83 and I'll be using as normal because I don't want to create a PV, then VG, then LV, all that process I don't want to do. If you want, you can take a logical volume and format it. So very quickly, I'll go to fdisk and I'm going to change the type for 7th partition to 83. That is our regular partition code. So you see it is now a regular partition. Let me save and come out. Now I'm going to format it with ext or xfs file system. Maybe I'll go with xfs slash dev sda7. Format it. Now I'm going to create a directory wherever you want, whatever name you want. There are no naming conventions for this concept, guys. So I'm going to create slash NFS, right? You can create a name, whatever you like. And I'm creating in slash. You can create wherever you want. Better to create in slash only. Okay. After that, I'm going to mount it. I'll say mount slash dev sda7 NFS. Guys, we know this concept very well, isn't it? So let me mount it. Now you check mount tail last few lines. So you'll find NFS SDA7 is now mounted on NFS. But it's a temporary mount, isn't it? So let's make it a permanent mount so that every time the system restart, we don't have to mount it again, right? So yes, better if we can get the UUID, BLKID dev SDA7. Let me copy this UUID block. Go again to etc fs tab. Guys, this is nothing new I'm doing, so I'm sure you are very well confident about the concepts what we am doing as of now, right? So UUID slash NFS, type is XFS, mount options are default, no dumping, no FSCK. I don't have to explain anything because we are already experts doing this, right? So what we did, guys, we checked for the software, it was already installed. Then we took a spare partition, we formatted it, we mounted it, and then we have made a permanent mount. Now, before I can proceed, I want you to check what is the permissions that you have on the directory. Most of the time, even after successful configuration, still you will find clients are not able to upload the data. You might get a complaint that NFS is not working, or maybe you may get a situation that clients are not able to upload the data. Now, how you are going to resolve it, what you are going to check? I'm going to check df-h and slash NFS. I'll check whether the space what I have given is completely filled up. That might be the case where clients are not able to upload any new file because the whole space is already utilized. So in this case, if you use LV, that would be better because you can expand the sizes easily. So first problem, maybe the disk space is already used. That is the reason clients are not able to upload the data. But if you check space is also there, then still I am not able to upload the data. Why? So secondly, check the permissions on the directory after mounting. Mostly people will check before mounting. So we don't want before mounting. First you mount the partition on the directory and then check, does it have right permission for at least others? If not groups and others, at least others. See, on the directory, if there is no right permission for groups and others also, then NFS clients will not be allowed to put the data into the file. So two situations are there, guys. I have explained you, remember very well. Whenever you get a ticket or a complaint that NFS is not accepting the data, there are two reasons. First of all, maybe the space on the server in the partition what you used is filled up, or secondly, on the directory after mounting, there is no write permission displayed. So to avoid this thing, I'm going to give full permissions on the directory after mounting. See, I did not do it before mounting. I'm telling it repeatedly because you should not do this mistake. Mostly people will give permission before mounting, and after mounting, you'll see a different concept then. So after mounting, give the access permission. So now you see it is having full permissions. Clients will be now allowed to upload the data. Okay. All right. So let me go to NFS directory. You can put some data over here, whatever data you want to share with clients. Suppose you can copy a data if you already have anywhere. Just say CP and put it the data here, or MV and put the data here. I don't have any data already created, so I'm just randomly for experiment creating some files with any name you like. Maybe I'm creating with the name NFS 125. Let me create some directory NFSD 125. All right. So you see, I'm planning to share 5 files and 5 directories, right? So whatever data I'm putting in this directory will be accessible by clients whenever they connect to NFS server. So guys, we have installed the software. We made one partition ready for this concept. We have changed the permission so that there should not be any issues. And we have kept the data what we want to share with the clients. All things are done. Now we need to update the config file. See, configuration changes are very important in server client model. So you should tell the server NFS especially that what you're planning to share and who can access this. So which is the configuration file we are going to update? You have to go to etc exports. I told you anything in NFS you are sharing, what you are sharing, with whom you want to share, that information has to be updated in etc exports. So just come to this file and over here, start with the directory address. What we are planning to share. I'm planning to share one directory what I have created. So I'll say I'm sharing slash NFS, right? With whom you want to share it. Give a tab space and now talk about clients. Now guys, client can be just one machine if you are sharing with, so you can give one IP address. But typically what happens is we will share it with set of clients. Probably guys, in real scenarios, we create an NFS server and we will set access to the entire network, right? So how can I say entire network can access it? Observe it carefully. To declare the entire network, this is the method 192.168.10.0. So guys, suppose my network is 192.168.10 series. So I'm telling all machine starting from 0 till 24. So 24 is nothing but, you remember in IP addressing class I explained you CIDR 8, 16, 24, 32, the net mask value. So I'm telling that starting from 0 slash that subnet mask, so entire network can access my NFS share. If you have individual machine, just give IP address and the permissions. Now guys, I want this particular uh, share to be accessed in read-only mode. If you say in read-only mode, then what happens? If you share it in read-only mode, then clients can only download the data from your NFS share. They cannot put any data. Now, one more reason, guys, why clients will not be allowed to upload the data. The reason will be here I have given read-only access. There is no read-write access for client. That means client, when they connect, can only download, but they cannot upload anything. If you want upload, download both, then you have to give read and write permission. Then I have to give comma. After that, we have to give one more permission here called sync. See guys, sync is nothing but as soon as I finish uploading the data on the server side, immediately all the clients should be synced with that and they should be able to see what is the data. So I don't want any delay in exchanging information between server and client. If I keep a new file, immediately it should be visible by all the clients. If you don't give sync, there is a chance. I'm not telling always it happens, but there is a chance that whenever you add any new thing on the server, it takes time to be visible on client side. So I don't want those delays, so better to give sync. Sometimes, guys, you might also use some securities, right? Like there is a security concept called Kerberos. or LDAP. Different security models are there. So if it is already configured, usually it would be configured by higher level admins of your environment. So if you want to use Kerberos something, then we have to give KRB 5 and 6. If you add this thing, then NFS will understand that, okay, we have some Kerberos integration, some authentication. So whenever client will be connecting, client will also have a Kerberos connectivity. So through Kerberos, it will verify that this client is a valid client to connect to your environment. So it's a kind of security that prevents from hacking and breaching. So if it is there, you will be informed by your organization that there will be a Kerberos thing or something. So if it is there, just add these two words, KRB5 and SYS. In your certification, you definitely have to do it. We don't have to configure any Kerberos. We don't have to configure LDAP, nothing. It will be pre-configured. We just need to tell these two things that okay, so it will try to connect with that Kerberos system. Anyway, so in our case we don't have any such authentications, so let's simply give read write and seek, which is the standard method. Okay, so we declared that which directory I'm going to share and which client can access it. Now sometimes it happens, guys, that you are sharing one more directory, and this directory I want to keep it open. I don't want to worry about which IP address, which network, which client. How can I keep it open? You can give star and then you can type whatever permission you want. So when you give star, that means any client, any IP, any network can access it. There is no restrictions for a specific client. Okay, so I'm not doing with that star concept. As of now, I'm going with one. So how many things you are sharing, you can add it into this configuration file. Everything is done, guys. Now, last two steps, whatever I'm going to show you, it is common for all the servers. Once you are done with entire configuration, last two steps is starting the related service and allowing that particular service in firewall. Without this, you are never going to finish your server-side configuration. So as I check systemctl status NFS hyphen server, you'll find that services are inactive and disabled. So I want to activate it and enable it. How? I'll say systemctl enable now NFS server. Done. Now, if you check the status, you'll find that the services are active and enabled, right? Last thing, I should check in firewall. Firewall CMD list all. See guys, there is a difference between service and firewall name. Service name is NFS dot service, something like that, and NFS server dot service. So firewall does not need service name. Firewall need what is the concept name. Like the concept name here is FTP. So we told allow FTP, but the service name was VSFTPD. So don't type the service name, type the concept name to allow. I want to allow NFS. I'll say firewall CMD add service to allow NFS and permanent. See, if you are using NFS, you have to allow NFS. But there are some related services that also needs to be allowed in NFS. But first I'll show you so that you may learn troubleshooting properly. Now, anytime we made a change in firewall, we must reload the services. Then I'll go for list all. So you see NFS is also allowed. All right. Now, one more thing, guys. Suppose after I configured the server perfectly, then I realized that maybe I did some mistake in etc exports. So I'll again go back in etc exports and I'll change something, maybe this line or that line, something I will change. See, if you change anything in the configuration file after the services are started, then mostly we will do reloading of service. But guys, in NFS, you have a concept. Whenever you have made the changes in the configuration file, if you want to update those changes, you can also use a command export fs-rv, where full forms I have already mentioned here what is what. You can just go ahead with that. So whenever you have made any change in this file, to update the changes next time onwards, I'm not going to disturb service command or systemctl command. Every time I made a change, I'll use export fs-rv. But remember, export fs command will work only if the services are already running. Suppose you did not started the service and you are using export fs. It's like there is no electricity in the house, but you are trying to power on the AC. Will it work? No. So first we need to make sure services are running. So once the services are running, next time onwards, we can just update the services by using export fs command. So what's the role of export fs? To reread etc export and show you what is being exchanged with client. Okay, great. Now everything on the server side is done. I'll go to client side. Let me take 50 as our client, 40 is a server, and 50 I'm going to take as a client. Now on the client side, just check the package is installed or not. So you see it is pre-installed. We don't have to do anything at all. On the client side, you don't have to start the services. You don't have to deal with firewall, nothing. I just want to test the communication from the client. I am able to properly communicate to server or not through NFS. It's not a normal connectivity. I want to test NFS based connectivity. To test your NFS is working properly between server and client, you can use a command called show mount -e. So I'm asking the server, show me what you are exchanging with client. Which server? 192.168.10.40. Now server must reply, but you see it is telling unable to receive. Also, to check which port number your server is using for NFS, you can go with a command rpc info and you can ask a question to 192.168.10.40. You see again you are getting an error. It says I am not able to reach out to server, right? So why is that? Server side you have configured everything fantastically, everything is fine. Then why still client is not able to communicate? See, after connectivity, if client is not able to upload the data, we can check in the other way. But here, I'm not at all able to communicate. It says there is no communication. Why is that? See, whenever you are trying to communicate from client to server, if you get this error, what we have seen, RPC or communication not able to establish, right? Port map failure, unable to receive, unable to communicate, then in this scenario, go back to server. On the server side, you must check in firewall. Two more services needs to be allowed. One is RPC bind and the other one is mount D. Because your firewall is blocking these two services, that is the reason you are not able to communicate from client to server. These are communication, network communication services. So we need to allow these two fellows also in firewall. Okay, so where client or server side? Server side. So let me go back to server. This is our server. and you just check in firewall. I just called the last firewall command. So only NFS is granted access. There is no RPC bind or mount D. So I need to allow two services. Let me allow them. I'll say firewall command add services. What is the service name? See, if you have two services, you can go like this. You can say, what was the name? I'm sorry. RPC hyphen bind. And the other one is um, mount D. And I want to add this changes permanent. See, it is successful. Now reload the service. And lastly, list them all. So you can see now mount D, RPC bind. Both services are now granted access. Now if you go back and now if we run show mount command, first of all, did you see that communication is established? It says the server is exchanging NFS directory and the clients who has access is 192.168.10.0. Okay, all right. Now you can also run RPC info command, or it's very big. Let me go with RPC info hyphen P. So it will only show me ports usually. And here you can find out NFS is using 2049 on TCP. So that's how we can find out that NFS is working on which port number when we connect to the server side. Okay, guys, now all the communication testings are done. I want to connect server side directory on client side. How can I do that? See, something is there on other machine and you are connecting on your local machine, but we are doing through mounting. When you see guys mounting, we have a partition and we mount it on a directory, normally what we have seen. So in order for mounting, I'm going to create a directory with the name called NFSCL. Now directory name, location, that is your choice. Wherever you want to create it, with whatever name you want to create, it's absolutely your choice. Now you see, mounting is also very much same what we have learned so far. I'll just say mount, but this is not a normal mounting, so I will instruct it that the type of file system you have to use is NFS. Even if you don't give this also, it will automatically consider NFS, but for your knowledge I'm adding it. If you ignore hyphen T also, it will automatically use NFS only. Now where is your server resource? Server is 192.168.10.40 colon, then the full location of the directory you want to connect. The full location is just slash NFS. Where did you want to mount it? I want to mount it on slash NFSCL. So I'm telling mount using NFS file system, connect to this server and connect to this directory, mount it on NFSCL. Done. Now go with mount and tail last few lines. You see 10.40 NFS is now mounted on NFSCL using NFS 4 file system. So NFS 4 is the latest version of NFS. Every software has a version, right? Now, if you go into NFSCL, did you find the same data what we uploaded or what we created on the server side? So this data is appearing on client side as if it is its local thing, but actually this data is stored on server. From server, the data is there, but I am able to view it on my client side as if it is a local stuff. Now, if server adds some more data, say I'm already on server side NFS, let me add some more data, NFS 6, NFS 7, and NFS 8. Yeah, do ls, you'll find that those three new files have been added. Now go to client side, do ls. See, we created the files on server side. but the same thing is visible on the client side because this stuff is on server. You are able to view it on the client side. That's it. Now, if I try to upload anything, let's say I'm creating some data here. I'll say CL1, CL2, CL3. It appears that it is locally created, but you go to server side, do L. Did you see that data is getting uploaded? Now, if I store my backup in this directory, what will happen? Automatically, that backup will get stored on the server side. So 10 clients, if they have to take the backup, if they take it on this client mount point, automatically it will be uploaded to the server centralizedly. All right. So this is the way we can share this data with clients using NFS. But again, guys, the type of mounting what we have done is temporary. Now it is mounted. After reboot, it will be lost. So if you want to make it a permanent mount, then what to do? See, we know to make a permanent mount, we will update FS tab. So let me go to etc FS tab. Obviously, it will be deleted from the server side also. If you delete the data while connected from client, you have read-write access. That means the data will be deleted from server side also. Whatever data, see, it's like Google Drive. I'm connecting from my laptop. Through connected to my laptop, if I do anything on Google Drive, the data will be deleted from there itself. All right. So go to FS tab. In FS tab, go to end of the line, open a new line. I'll answer the question in a while. Let me complete this. Yes, any more questions you can keep on posting. That's fantastic. I'll answer the questions in a while. So uh, first we need to give the IP address for connectivity. So I'll say 192.168.10.40 colon, the exact address is slash NFS. Where would you like to mount it? I want to mount it on NFS-CL. What type of file system to be used? Now, many people does mistake, they'll give ext4 or XFS. See, whenever you are dealing with NFS, the file system should be NFS, right? Mount options defaults and dumping 0, FSCK 0. So this is the way you have to give client-side request for permanent mount. Now let me save and quit. I'm going to unmount it first of all. Go with mount and go with some last few lines. So you see it is not yet mounted. How to test permanent mounting? Partition class mount hyphen A. Now you repeat mount command. Did you see it is getting automatically mounted? Right. So this is the way we have to go and make a permanent mount so that every time the system restart, the client should be able to upload it. Okay, so the question is coming in from Olani that what if same file name is created on different clients? Will there be an overwritten on the server? See, you are not supposed to create two files with the same name. Even if you try, it might reject it as the same name already exists. Suppose if I say NFS1, it says you cannot create a new file with that same name, right? Doesn't matter. See, you have two lifts and they are reaching to second floor. So ultimately where you are meeting at second floor. So whether the client is one client, 50 is a client, 60 is a client, where is the data getting stored? On the server side. So whichever client is connected, they will be landing into this directory. So no client will be allowed to create same name file. No, doesn't matter. See, ultimately you are reaching to this directory only. Whenever you connect, you will be connecting to 10.40/fs folder only. 40 client, 50 client will also get into that directory. 60 client will also get into that directory. 70 client will always get into the directory. They will all be able to see the data inside it. And even by mistake also, if they say touch an any file, or touch, or let's say touch, suppose NFS 4, NFS 5, it might say that you are not allowed to do this activity because the data, the file already exists. You create with some other name. For example, I'm trying to create a directory. It says it already exists. You can do that, right? All clients, when they connect, they will be able to see this data. That's what we are doing with NFS. So if they type any file name or directory name that exists, they'll be get rejected with their request. Now they can copy this data wherever they want. Suppose they want to copy NFS22 slash. Now in their slash, they have a file called NFS2, like that. All right, great. Now guys, a very, very beautiful concept I'm going to explain you, and we will try to go as deep as possible because this concept is wonderful to understand. See guys, you did permanent mounting on the client side. I have a question. Just think and tell me, by making a permanent mount, are we going to have any problem, or it is a good thing to do a permanent mounting? Or let me make it more simple question. Is it a good idea to make a permanent mount or not? What do you think, guys? I just need some of your suggestions. Type in chat window or unmute and tell whatever you want. By making a permanent mount on the client, have we done something good, or is it a good idea to do a permanent mount on the client or not? Just let me know your suggestions, guys. What do you think? Yes, no, good, bad, ugly. Maybe not as planned, might change later. Okay, Sabir says no. All right, let me explain you one small scenario. Let's say that I have this server. The server name is 40. This is your NFS server. On NFS server, I have created one NFS directory and we kept some data inside it. All right, now we have clients. 50, suppose, is your client. 60 is also your client. 70, maybe it is also your client, like that. 1040, 1020 machines are your clients. Each one will create a directory and they will do NFS mounting. 50 is accessing NFS share, 60 is accessing NFS share, 70 is also accessing NFS share. All of them are accessing. Okay. Now, guys, when you make a permanent mount is also called as hard mounting. Please don't get confused with this terminology. Whenever you hear about hard mounting, they are talking about permanent mount. Hard mount is nothing but permanent mount. What happens in hard mount or permanent mount is it's always mounted, isn't it? You need it or not. You really want it or not. You're working in the directory or not. It is always mounted, right? It's like you have a room. In the room, you have AC, you have fridge, you have television, and your laptop, desktop, heater, all are on 24 by 7. You use it or not. You want it or not. You're working with it or not. Everything is on. So do you like to be, I mean, do you like to use such a way the things? Absolutely not, isn't it? And in this scenario, why there is a problem with permanent mount? See, guys, here the NFS is going to use the network of the server. So suppose if 20 clients are accessing NFS, all 20 clients have done permanent mounting or hard mounting. Just imagine the load of network server has to be maintaining, whether client is using it or not, whether client really wants it or not, doesn't care. Server side network resources will always be busy catering NFS activity. So there will be a network issue on the server side, isn't it or not? Now there is a peak time 60 clients are accessing and they are all making permanent mount. Just imagine how much network will always be busy for NFS connectivity. Do you want to work that way? Client side, maybe it's a great idea to make permanent mount because always it is going to get mounted. But on server side, the network resources will be highly utilized and that may degrade the performance of the server. So for this reason, making a permanent mount or hard mount is not a good idea when you have a huge amount of clients connecting to your server. Okay, if I don't do hard mount, then what is the other solution? I can go for it. See guys, the opposite of hard mount is something called soft mount. So what is that soft mount? In other words, we call it as auto mounting. What is that auto mounting? See, auto mounting is also a permanent type of mounting. It is not temporary or one time. It always behaves the same way. See, if you configure auto mounting, the intelligent thing that happens here is as soon as you step into the directory on the client side, automatically the mounting will happen. And if you leave the directory, nobody is present in the directory, nobody is using it on the client side, automatically it is going to disconnect it or unmount it. So whenever there is a need, it gets mounted. When no one needs it, no one is using it, automatically it gets disconnected. Have you seen sensor-based lights, guys, we use in our galleries or lobbies, something like that, and nights? When you step into it, automatically the lights will pop up. And when you've been through from that area, automatically they'll turn off. So when there is a need, they are getting activated. And when there is no need, they are getting deactivated. And it is permanent. One time you have to configure in every way, every time it is going to work the same way, right? So don't you think, guys, that auto mounting or soft mounting is better than permanent or hard mounting in this scenario? Locally on the server, if you have a partition and mounting it, okay, hard mount is good idea. But when you are dealing over the network and you want to preserve the load on the server side, then soft mount or auto mount is very important. Did you understood the concept, guys? Give me just yes, no. Concept is very important. I want to be sure that everyone has understood the concept. Great. All right. How about others? Great. I hope Satya and Farah, you have also been understanding the concept. Well, now the question is on whose side you are going to implement auto mounting. Auto mounting will be implemented on server side or will it be implemented on client side? Just tell me your point of view. Where do you think auto mounting has to be configured? Server side or client side? Okay, so Muhammad says on client side. Okay, Ola also says client side. Great, perfect. You both are correct. We have to configure it on client side because server does not knows when people go into client side directory and when people leave the directory. Moreover, mounting and unmounting, these things are happening on client side. You have done temporary mounting on the client side. You have done permanent mounting on the client side. So obviously auto mounting will also be done on client side. So this pain we have to take, that we have to go to every client and configure auto mounting. Now then we are having Ansible configuration management tool. So from one side we can send the same information, all clients will be updated with same thing. So automation helps in making the concept available. Anyway, so when we go to Ansible, we'll learn that. But as of now, every client we have to do this activity. Now guys, whenever you are planning for auto mounting on the client side, make sure there is no permanent mounting already done. So we have just done the permanent mounting. Let me go to etc fs tab and let's delete the line what we have added. Done. Let me save and quit. It's done. Now also make sure it is not mounted right now. Is it mounted? Yes, it is mounted. So I will say u mount and slash nfscl. Just check it out. It is not mounted. Now guys, in order to configure auto mounting, we have to first install one package called AutoFS. I don't know why this change has came from Red Hat 8. Some peculiar changes are there. AutoFS is one of the very important package that usually comes pre-installed. But it's observed that since Red Hat 8, it's not pre-installed. We have to install it. Anyway, doesn't matter. Yum or DNF is configured. So I'll say DNF installed autofs-y. So it might get installed. All right. After that, you have to configure auto mounting. Now, guys, as I promise, I'll go very deep in this concept for understanding. There are two types of auto mounting. The first type and the widely used type is direct auto mounting. What is this direct auto mounting? Now, suppose guys, I have a client. This time I'm talking with respect to client. Suppose I have a client called 50. 50 is my client, and this client is getting NFS share from multiple machines. Let's say I have 60. This is also a server. 70. This is also an NFS server. 80, this is also an NFS server. 90, this is also an NFS server. So 4 server has 4 directory that I need to connect from one client. Now guys, how many servers are there? That many directories I have to create. Yes or no? One directory for 60 mounted, 70 mounted, 80 mounted, 90 mounted. How many servers I'm connecting? That many directories I have to create on the client side, and I have to configure auto mounting. When you go in the directory mounting, when nobody is inside it, unmounting will happen. This is called direct auto mounting. And I really find direct auto mounting straightforward, very easy to work with, right? But there is one more type of auto mounting, guys. That is called indirect auto mounting. So what's that? Indirect auto mounting. See, indirect auto mounting is really useful when you have huge number of servers to connect, maybe 10 servers, 15 servers, 20 servers you are connecting. In that case, this will be a very great help. So again, I have 50 client, same scenario, and I have 3, 4 servers or 10 servers to connect maybe. So you have 60 as a server, same thing, 70 as a server, 80 as a server, 90 as a server. Each server has a directory created inside it. These are all what? They are all servers. Now guys, when you see direct mounting, if you have 5 servers, we are creating 5 directories and mounting them. Same way, if I have 20 servers to connect, I need to take that pain of creating 20 directories and maintain them, isn't it? So what indirect mounting will ask us to do is, instead of creating one directory for each, just maintain one main directory. For example, I have NFS as my mother directory. Inside it, if you want, create subdirectories for each server. Or even though if you have not created anything, automatically the auto mounting will create one directory for each server. So under that main directory, all your NFS servers will be connecting. So we just need to maintain one mother directory. Subdirectories will be created and deleted automatically. Whenever you are mounting, directory will be created. Whenever it is unmounted, the directory will be automatically removed after unmounting. So just maintain one directory. Subdirectories will be taken care automatically. This is called indirect auto mounting. So when you have less number of machines to connect, go with direct mounting. It is straightforward, no confusion. When you have a huge amount of servers to connect, then better to go with indirect mounting. We'll learn both of them, right? I'll just show you that what are the things you have to do in indirect and what you have to do in direct, but probably we'll work with direct mounting. Okay, so as we have installed the package and we have checked also, the package is installed perfectly. And we have made sure there is no previous mounting related to NFS is there. So there is no NFS related server mounted, and in ETCFS tab also there is no entry related to NFS. That's great. Now there is a file related to auto mounting, etc auto.master. etc auto.master is the main auto mounting configuration file. Now go to this file. Few data is there inside it. Never disturb that data. It is important. Let's not disturb it, right? Probably guys, the best thing what I'll tell you is always remember, always, whenever you are editing an important file, make sure that first you have taken a backup of it. So you can say copy etc auto.master. In etc only, take it as bkp.auto.master. So it's a backup file. If anything goes wrong here, I'll simply delete it and I'll rename that file as auto.master. So I have a problem. Maybe while editing, I may do mistakes. So I have original file backed up for my rescue. Always, guys, even though if you're editing etc hosts also, have a habit of making a backup like that. Because after you make a mistake, then you realize it's waste of time. Anyway, let me go to etc auto.master. Now go to end of the file, open a new line below. And over here, guys, if you are planning to do indirect mounting, you need to give the address of main directory in which subdirectories has to be created and deleted. So suppose I already created a directory NFSCL. You have to give the mother directory name only when you are planning for indirect mounting. If you are planning for direct mounting, then just give slash and hyphen. That means there is no indirect concept. This is direct mounting. Don't ask me any mother directory name. So if there is an indirect mounting, start with directory address. If it is direct mounting, just give slash and hyphen. Now guys, how many servers you are going to connect? As of now, it is 1, but in coming time, number of servers might increase. So we will keep the list of servers in a separate file that you are connecting. I'm going to create a file in etc with whatever name you like. Just to relate it with auto mounting, I am using a name auto.nfs. Now this auto.nfs is not important. You can simply give etc my NFS server, NFS server, whatever name. Just to relate with auto mounting, I use this name. Otherwise, that name is not important at all. Then I will set timeout value. Now timeout value is nothing but after people leave the directory, how much time you want to wait before unmounting. It means someone passed by through sensor light. Now, as soon as you passed by, the lights will not turn off, isn't it? The moment you pass off, you see it will wait for 5-10 seconds and then it will get turned off. So here also I'm telling that after leaving this directory, I wanted to wait for 10 seconds. As soon as 10 seconds are over, then it should unmount. Now you can reduce that to 1 second also. Immediately people leave, it will get unmounted. Or wait for 10 seconds and then unmount it. So if it is indirect mounting, start with directory address, same parameters. If it is direct mounting, slash hyphen, this parameter, same. Now don't forget to create the second file etc auto.nfs. Save and quit. Now I'll go to etc auto.nfs. Now here we have a small change if you are doing it direct or indirect. So if you are going with direct, you need to give the full address which directory you want to use for mounting purpose. If it is indirect, just tell what name directory to be created. Suppose I want to create a directory with the name. So in the mother directory, automatically this directory will be created with the name CL1. And I want to mount it with read write permission. And which server to connect? 192.168.10.40. And the location is NFS. Guys, don't worry about read write access. You see in permanent mounting also you have given defaults. Default means what? Read write access. So I'm telling in the mother directory, create a subdirectory CL1 and on CL1 connect to this server. So automatically when you enter into the main directory, a subdirectory will be created. In that subdirectory, mounting will happen. But if you are doing a direct mounting, then you have to mention the full address of the directory where you want to do direct mounting. So I'll say do the direct mounting on NFSCL. That means as soon as you enter into NFSCL, this server is going to get mounted. So in indirect mounting, first you have to go to NFSCL, then inside it you have to go to CL1. Let me save and quit. Now it's time to start the services of AutoFS. Systemctl status AutoFS. You see it is inactive and disabled. So let's start it. Systemctl enable now AutoFS. Okay. Now if I check mount last few lines, see automatically 10.40 NFS is connected to NFSCL. We unmounted it. So let me go to NFSCL. I'll get the data. Now what we are going to do, we will leave the directory and see is it automatically getting disconnected or not. For that, I'll write a small script of while loop, because what happens is I want to continuously monitor the output. So you'll learn while loop in shell scripting videos. While true, do mount, show me last 5 lines, and sleep for 1 second before sleeping. Okay, clear. After that and done. Okay, so every 1 second it repeats the output and shows the status. Now you see, I'm already in NFSCL. Let me come out of this directory. Am I out? Now I'll repeat my while loop. See, it's mounted. What happens after 10 seconds, you see? Did you observe that it got automatically disconnected, right? So if I go into NFSCL, it's automatically getting mounted. And when I leave it, you observe that automatically it is going to get disconnected. So when there is a need, it mounted. When nobody is present in the directory, after waiting 10 seconds, it automatically got disconnected. So this is the way how we have to do auto mounting concept. That's it, guys. You need to do a very good practice on this so that you may understand the concept very nicely. If you have any more questions or queries, guys, now you can put your questions. Are there any questions, guys, to ask, or can we start the session? Yes, absolutely right. You have to do practice first and then come up with questions. Well, then fine. We'll stop the session here, guys. Let's meet up tomorrow and see another very interesting server. Thank you very much, guys. See you tomorrow.